Well, hello, my own beautiful brothers and brothers of the world of beautiful Nation. I am the Dark, the Shadow, the Maverick, the Dark Shadow Maverick. And this is. Can't remember the name of the damn thing. Basically, just now finally got to remembering. Basically, this is. Well, you read the title, I presume you read the title. This is What If Naruto Was G.O.D. And this is basically a reference to not Neji's 64 palms, but the, I guess a better version, the 128 palms. So this is the 128th universe. It is Naruto's universe. He will be the God Destroyer of, the Hakashin of. Basically, this and the Izuku one are actually going to be in the same sort of canonicity or something. Seeing as, they're like both God of Destruction what ifs, I felt that, having them be in the same canonicity, whatever the frick, would kind of be cool. And how exactly is Naruto going to become, God of Destruction? Well, I basically have it as well. Universe 128 basically already had, their own God of Destruction. And he's, had the title for a while. I'm gonna have to get there, like, from some other God of Destructions to consider him senile. Yeah, that long. And it shows also, like, his own features. And, well, basically, this God of Destruction, the previous God of Destruction, the Supreme Kai, and the Angel are all going to be references to things as well. Only this is going to be like references to different kinds of chocolate. And how exactly is this? Because, the former, God of Destruction, you know, his name is Y. but it's spelled WHI, like with a TE removed from white and white chocolate. Yeah, so basically that Y. So yeah, basically Y being the, former god of destruction, with his only, last request being that he is allowed to choose who is to be his successor before he is, gotten rid of, disposed of. And, seeing as, he sees a bunch of different universes, he's seen a bunch of different universes in his lifetime, so he would know if there was someone struggling. And, if someone had struggled a lot in their lifetime doing certain things. The one in particular person catches his eye. Well, had been catching his eye for quite some time. This person being Naruto's Maki. And by the time, Y does this, by the time he's retired, and, picks Naruto to be his successor, because of course he does. By the time that rolls around, basically, Naruto's had a full life as Hokage. And, well, Naruto's only real regrets, being well, that of not living that much of a full life as he could have lived if he knew more and if, he had more, information in general about, his own family and own lineage. So, it is indeed, safe to say that Naruto hasn't exactly, basically, it's safe to say that Naruto, he hasn't exactly led a regret-free life. As much as he loves his family, and eventually they die too, and, because of Naruto being the child of prophecy and whatever, and having a longer lifespan, plus, part of Otsutsuki, having a longer lifespan, and part of Uzumaki having a longer lifespan, basically, he would probably outlive his family. Or at least somewhat of them. And, because of the burrito mode or whatever, expending all of Kurama's chakra, he doesn't even have, his buddy Kurama to confide with now these days. Actually, for a long time now, he's not had, Kurama to confide with, since it's been so long since he, last Otsutsuki opponent. And, Y's looking around, and, he notices, the Otsutsuki planet, there's no one there. Literally, this is after all of the Otsutsuki opposition have been defeated. And so, one final act alongside, getting Naruto actually there to become, his replacement, God of Destruction, is basically to Hakai the hell out of the Otsutsuki planet. And so Naruto does indeed find it suspicious, how in the sky one time whenever he's looking, 1 second the Otsutsuki planet is there, next second it's not. And he can't even sense Kaguya inside the moon anymore, but can't sense her anywhere else. So yeah, Naruto's kind of weirded out. And then all of a sudden he feels rejuvenated, and he realizes he's back in his prime. Around the time where he was, you know, basically around, his peak performance. And, due to, the cycle of rebirth that Biju go through, Kurama is even allowed to return. Release, a baby version of Kurama, simply known as Q. Only, basically, eventually will retain all the memories of past self. But for now, no real luck. So, yeah, basically, Naruto doesn't really have Kurama back, but sort of like a reincarnation of Kurama, Q. And basically, not really long after this, being rejuvenated to peak performance and then being granted, this reincarnated baby version of Kurama named Q. Basically, Naruto gets transported, to, Zeno's planet. Grand Zeno. The two of them. Damn it, Trunks' timeline. Future Trunks, more specifically. Anyways, where basically, why would, be there, and it would basically explain everything before Naruto could even get a word in edgewise. That basically, he's kind of lived a pretty, unreally fulfillful life as a god of destruction of this universe, Universe 128. And Naruto kind of is like, we're kind of similar in that regard. Though I realize Q's still here. And Q just being like, yep. And, well, after that, basically, why is, able to fill Naruto with wisdom that he has, accumulated over the years. And so Naruto is able to, basically, basically, like, this is your universe now. This is your planet. Or, you're going to go to your planet. You have a planet to yourself. Your god of destruction. Well, not really to yourself. Your angel will be with you. And there's your Supreme Kai counterpart. And so Naruto's trying to, digest all this. And so Naruto ends up figuring out that his Supreme Kai counterpart, oh boy. His angel's name is Mill, and his Supreme Kai counterpart's name is Dar. And if you don't get that, Mill is in reference to milk chocolate, and Dar is in reference to dark chocolate. And so basically Naruto trying to get himself familiar with this whole thing. And if you guys just think I'm going to rush in with this whole tournament thing, well, I do have a tournament planned. And not just in between, 4 universes, but actually in between 6. So we can still keep it an even number. Basically, planning on letting in the Universe 11, aka the freaking Pride Troopers. Basically, with, Izuku's universe and, all the other universes and plus Naruto's universe, that would be 5. But if we added in a universe 11, which I am going to do that, that would make it 6. And, that's an even number, so it will probably be all better. So, yeah. I'm doing that. Because I would say the Pride Troopers would probably want to get involved. I mean, they weren't involved with this whole Universe 50 shit. Now there's a 128th universe. Yeah, the Pride Troopers would probably, be a little bit upset. I mean, they want to uphold justice. So, they would want to uphold justice since they couldn't uphold justice in Universe, 50 thing where it was involved. If Universe 50 and Universe 128 is also involved, they will uphold justice there. At least request to be involved so that they can indeed do that. Basically, what exactly am I going to do to not, thrust myself into a tournament, thing automatically? I'm not gonna do the thing where it's like, oh, I'm going, go by, I'm like the god of destruction. No, Naruto. Basically, everyone he's ever known as a friend is, dead. That's how long it's been. So he really wouldn't, be able to do that all successfully. That is at least, he wanted to have male, basically, temporal do-over freaking all of, everyone back to life. Or do whatever we did to Frieza at the end of the Tournament of Power. Yeah. Damn. I do know that whenever, Frieza tried to, bitch it out and, try to clutch a win, in Resurrection F, we did do a temporal do-over. Whenever that happened. So, basically, if I'm not going to do that, then what am I going to do in order to start things off? Well, first of all, the lineup for the tournament. The participants from Universe 128. Which you might just be surprised by. Because, well, I'm actually going to be reading the participants in reverse, just so I can build up suspense. Basically, the number 10 participant, his name is Mask, and he's actually a werewolf. And number 9 would be, Lotus, and Lotus is a vampire. And then there's, number 8 being Shajuji, and they're an archangel. And number 7 is a fellow archangel by the name of Leo. And number 6 through 2 are all members of this thing called the Hanyu Squadron. Number 6 being XYZ, number 5 being Taru, number 4 being Freya, number 3 being Bifante, number 2 being Rosary. And actually, the reason why I said numbers 6 through 2 is because number 1 is actually the leader of the squadron. You know, the Hanyu Squadron. Because numbers 6 through 2 are all Hanyu. You know, half, something, half demon. Half one thing, half demon. Is basically what a Hanyu is. And so, yeah, basically numbers 6 through 2 are all Hanyu. And number 1 is actually the leader of the Hanyu Squadron. And numbers 7 through 10 are actually different parts of the lower levels of the Makaishin, world of Universe 128. They're like different division leaders. Makaishin, basically hell. And so, no wonder why I said, archangels, vampire, werewolf. And as, different kinds of Hanyu, basically Rosary is a sort of, the key is in the name. Basically, you know, half human, half sort of, well, not really half human, more or less half plant person, half demon. Because they're like sort of like a mushroom mixed with a rose and a sunflower person, half demon. And Bifante is kind of like a bunny rabbit or jackrabbit, mix. And, well, with a demon, so they would also be Hanyu. And Freya would kinda... She would just be really freaking, hot. Be like one of those waifu for life type girls. But also one of those girls you would see on, those, OnlyFans sites. Yeah, that type of woman. Mixed with a demon. And Leo and Shajuji are like parts of basically the leaders of their own different divisions, divisionary clans. One is fighting for this side and the other one's fighting for the other side. As the leaders of both sides. And Lotus and Mask, basically Lotus being just a vampire, and Mask being a werewolf. And excuse me, Leo and Shijuji are actually archangels. More like archangel leaders, because they, lead their separate divisionary squadrons, divisionary armies for territory over certain parts of the universe. It's kind of like if you had Frieza versus Frieza. The Frieza versus the Frieza Force versus the Frieza Force. So yeah, I guess you could indeed say a civil war of sorts amongst the universe with those two. And the reason why I've kept, the first competitor secret for so long is, well, let's get into some backstory. Yeah, that's right. We're about to get into some backstory. Because that is indeed what we will be covering for this. As, well, number one being the leader of the, Hanyu, Defense Force Squadron. Or Hanyu Squadron Defense Force, whatever. It also, taken to note that Universe 128 is actually a sort of mirror universe. Much like how, Universe 6 is a mirror universe to Universe 7. Universe 128 is like a mirror universe to both of them. Seeing as it does indeed have someone from Universe 7 competing in the tournament as one of the fighters. But it's a Universe 128 version of that Universe 7 person. Basically, the scene is set on the planet Earth of Universe 128. A good while, actually, before Naruto became its god of destruction. When Y was still in, control of that. And, well, I don't know about you, but constantly being in your father's shadow would kind of breed insecurities. So whenever Goten and, Trunks finally, did allow, get into a school like, Orange Star High, eventually get to that age. And a lot of people starting to, point out that even if he did cut his hair, he'd still be recognized as the person in his father's shadow. That person being the half Saiyan, half human Goten. Yes, Universe 128 version of Goten. Because I'm tired of everyone giving him the smoke. basically, well, you know, Goten hasn't had all that much luck, sleep wise. And there have even been these instances where he believes he's, hallucinated. Or, headaches. And he's, trying to sleep. He's even been prescribed medication, but nothing seems to work. And Chi-Chi's getting worried. That is all until a certain day, whenever, well, basically, Goten and Trunks are, training, and, well, they're currently training in base. And that's whenever, Trunks decides, how about we kick it up a notch? And Goten agreeing. Reluctantly, considering he didn't really want to train. He just felt like, wanted to curl up in a ball and die in a hole. He had just been feeling so down. But, he figures maybe this will be something to get him out of his, feels. And, well, however, whenever Trunks, brings up going, upgrading up to Super Saiyan, that he actually knows that unlike, what people think, Trunks actually does know that he did, get to his level and actually reaching Super Saiyan 2. And so Goten is forced to bring it out, because if he doesn't, he's gonna have to listen to Trunks' bullshit. So, reluctantly, he powers up to Super Saiyan 2, along with Trunks. And basically, nailing each other with a bunch of barrage blows. Basically, Goten landing a successful axe kick into Trunks' head. Basically landing him into a freaking mountain. Basically, with, Trunks beneath him, Goten basically powering up a Kamehameha. And basically Trunks believing you remember something from what, future Trunks had, said about how he defeated Cell in the future timeline. And that's whenever he gets the idea. Heat Dome attack! And basically, Goten, much like Cell, basically gets blown away by the blast. And that's basically when, in a rage, after getting up, after thinking that this was just going to be a friendly spar, but then Trunks pulls this shit out. Like the real freaking heat dome attack. And, following up with, a burning storm. And then, burning attack. And whenever Goten just barely manages to dodge that, he basically gathers up a burning storm around, look at this, a big tree cannon. Basically, a bunch of, burning storm, encircling a big tree cannon, basically creating a super big tree cannon, and, shooting that at Goten. Hoping, since, he's also in Super Saiyan 2, that he'll be able to handle it. And Goten just being like, saw me barely be able to handle freaking Super Saiyan 2 version of the Heat Dome attack. Why do you think I'll be able to handle this? Damn it. and basically powering up a Super Kamehameha and just swoosh. And Trunks getting, so heated up in the heat of battle, he incidentally fires a final flash and through the super big tree cannon. And just basically, what Future Trunks said Vegeta was going to basically. I think if it was like Future Trunks or Krillin said that he was going to destroy the planet with that. Vegeta. Basically, just shooting it off like that. And basically, Goten somehow manages to emerge from that, alive. But not unscathed. Very devastatingly scathed. Bloodied, beaten, bruised, and battered. This was just supposed to be a friendly spar. But Trunks seems to be getting, too excited. And that's whenever, something snaps inside of Goten. Out of a last-ditch effort to power up in order to meet Trunks' second final flash, he added to the super big tree cannon. A flash of pink. And then basically whenever the smoke lifts, Trunks expecting to see a pretty battered and beaten Goten. Well, he's right about the whole battered and beaten and bloodied and part, But what he didn't expect to see was his hair glowing pink. And the exclamation of, "You see this, Trunks? This is Super Saiyan Rose." The only reason why I said that is, well, I think your future self recognized that more than you. Basically, Trunks looking horrified because he may not have seen it, but he definitely did hear about it. Basically, Goten finally, snapping back into sanity. Out of the transformation, Trunks hoping that was just a trick of his eyes and ears. That, freaking Goten didn't just, release Pandora's box by, activating Super Saiyan Rose on his ass. But, it's kind of proven wrong whenever all of a sudden, right as Trunks is about to, leave the whole training ground, Goten not really happy about the fact that he wasn't really given an explanation on why Trunks had to go so far. And decides, oh, why the hell not? Just nailing Trunks right through a stiffy megapause with the Keyblade. With one single burst of Rose. But, he also manages to realize, that could probably kill him if he's not, tended wounds to, right now. So, he uses powers to, heal. And he realizes, well, he can also heal people. And he can create Keyblades to give people the stiffy. Megapause. And basically, Goten hoping, that whole show was over. I didn't really feel like carrying Trunks, so just kind of left him there to eventually wake up on his own. You know, basically feeling like, that's proper punishment for being that much of a dick to him. To just pull shit out of nowhere and expect him not to want to retaliate back with some, vigor of his own. And, well, the thing is, Goten actually got a pretty good sleep after that. The best sleep he's had in a while. And that's whenever he hears, "Wakey, wakey, sleepyhead." And, and sees in front of him what looks to be a female Zamasu. From the future timeline, the green one, not the one, who stole his father's body, then killed him and his mother from another time. Dang, just Jesus Christ. And even corrects, Goten, stating their name to be Zamazi. And that, the halo, they do indeed point that there's a halo on their head, is because, well, they're sort of basically, floating through the cosmos as a sort of, like, unexistent being. Just unexistent, state of matter amongst the cosmos. You kind of get tired of that after a while. And so, decided to basically check in on someone. And basically did not like what they saw. And so they, seeing as dude was affecting other timelines, decided to into Goten without him noticing. And basically waited until it would be the right time to, well, make themselves known. As sort of like an imaginary friend / guardian to, them and them alone. Zamazi apparently is the older sister of Zamasu. Or at least was until her respective universe, as a part of the several universes that were destroyed by Zeno that one time. One of those universes was hers. And so basically that's why her, matterless form was floating through the cosmos out of nowhere, at random. And basically, Zamazi stating that, she basically could, as, this disembodied state of matter, always, know about her brother and what, he was going through. And, she saw more than hatred in his eyes. She also saw that, pain. And not just from fighting, Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. Well, Vegeta Trunks more specifically. Pain because of what happened to his older sister. His Nai-chan. So, yeah. And, Zamazi even believes that she knows that, the Zenos, the Grand Zenos, or Grand Zeno, because just one Zeno at the time, didn't just destroy the universe on a whim, that it was, influenced by, the Grand Priest himself, basically himself, seeing as he doesn't really seem to have to do much in order to get to do something. He doesn't really ever seem to, refuse the dude, so all he would have to do is just suggest something, and, Granzino would probably do it. So, maybe possibly, suggest that, his whole role as, ultimate force in all of the freaking, you know, omniverse, omniversal plane was in jeopardy because of these universes, and Granzano would destroy them. When in all reality, it was, probably because, you know, the Grand Priest didn't, favor them all that much and, felt them to be undesirables out of them, out of the whole thing. And felt that just having 12 universes would be better than having all of these, original 18 universes, I believe. So, yeah. Basically, Goten now just having the bomb dropped in on him that, yeah. And considering, well, Zamazi seems pretty honest. Basically, it's like, wow. That's like, wow. You just got destroyed all because dude felt like he was in jeopardy because of your existence. His hold on everything, his iron grip. As the puppeteer behind the scenes. With, Grand Zeno as merely just a figurehead. And, his guards none the wiser. Maybe, maybe not. Who the frick knows? And, well, is indeed a thing where, well, Goten wondering now about this power, and Zamazi not really all afraid to talk to him about it. What true potential you could possibly reach with that power. And, eventually, basically, eventually, the truth about Zamazi is indeed revealed, and whenever this does indeed happen, Zamazi is actually able to be viewed by others. And even sort of like a miracle thing happens, like where, seeing as Zamazi was once part of this, endless floating cosmos of nothingness, and, probably Zamazi was getting the same treatment, So can probably reach out to their brother. And indeed they do. And as indeed explained, that is, kind of what happened. Zamasu was pretty depressed after, losing Zamasi. And eventually, this kind of friendship, between, Universe 128's Goten and, Zamasi kind of develops into more of a personal thing. More than just a simple, imaginary friend or guardian. However, Goten does have the courtesy to at least, seeing as they don't really have a father or mother around, at least, seeing as they don't have that, Goten does the next best thing in his eyes. Seeing as he can't, ask the father or the mother for it. Asks, little brother for, blessing and, marrying the one he's come to love. That being, his older sister. Zamasu's older sister. Zamasi. And, Zamasu was actually, kind of, even though he used to frickin' loathe mortals, he found that, it can't seem to, get mad at this. And instead is actually overjoyed that, Zamazi will be able to be happy. At least one of them will. And so eventually it does happen. And so Zamazi is able to use her powers to even get Zamasu to be able to stay long enough to actually be there for the wedding. And be the one to, read out the vows. And everything. Be all professional and shit. And, go also from their universe. Well, would have, but since he doesn't really know about this, there's someone else who, comes up and steps up to the bat. That being their, Supreme Kai, Dar. And so, yeah, that happens. And well, basically, seeing as they're kind of like, mixing between Kai and, mortal. Basically, it'd be kind of tainted, Kind of like whenever, Vegito turned his man into Harvey Dent. So, yeah, indeed. They would have a very fulfilled life. As, they would actually have several children. And Zamasu would indeed approve of all of them. Though they would look different from one another. There would be no discrimination, there would be no hate. Even though they were, given the distinction of Hanyu. Yes, actually, the Hanyu Squadron are, Universe 128's Go-Tens and, Zamazis. children. Basically, the Hanyu Squadron are their children. And another thing is actually the several children, they have a total of 9 children. Not just, Hanyu, but eventually the blood gets there enough to actually be different distinctions. Not just Hanyu, but full on, you know, beings of divinity or non-divinity, depending on, the type of situation. So yes, the entirety of Universe 28's, 128's roster that is not Goten, 128's version of Goten himself, are his children. Even if they're not part of the Hanyu Defense Force. They're still his children. And the thing is, the Hanyu Defense Force are his strongest of his children. And so, yeah. What do you know about that? And you might be wondering, well, hey, if, Zamazi is, like, deleted, how can, they have, children with, basically, yeah, how can they have children if, that's a thing? It's a little thing called the Dragon Balls. And how, well, different universes would have, probably have, Dragon Balls with different, capabilities whenever concerning wishes. And this is indeed true. Because the Shenron of this universe is able to, well, basically actually to ensure that, she's brought back to full stat. Basically, first she was wished back, and, with her expert, key sensing abilities, she's actually able to sense where they are and, Kai Kai. And basically, Goten just, after learning instant transmission a while back, instant transmission's over to Planet Namek, and, basically gets Brunga and, well, wishes for, Samazi to basically be, brought back to, full stat. Mods, hacks, everything. Fully loaded, Hercules. Basically, all that was done before, the children were really conceived, because, that would have to happen before they were conceived. For them to even be conceived. And even that was done before, technically they got married. The only thing that really happened before, got brought back was, well, asking for Zamasu's, freaking blessing. And so basically, Universal 128's version of Goten, Zamazi, and basically their, 9 children, not all of, equal status or, equal origin. And as to how that even happened in general, well, actually, Leo and Shijuji, you know, were actually, came out as fruits. That, eventually whenever fermenting, eventually, shed the skin of the fruit and even the inside of the fruit to reveal little babies. Little baby archangels. So, fermented kai fruit. And it's basically the same thing with Lotus and Mask, only they did not ferment properly before they came out of the fruit. Which is why, instead of being archangels, one is a vampire and the other one is a werewolf. But they're all actually equally loved. Even though some are stronger than others. They're all actually equally loved. It's just some are just more inherently talented. And, well, basically now, back at, well, Naruto's, planet. Naruto, the Hakaishin of Universe 128. Basically, with his angel Mill, Naruto's just sleeping after eating like all the ramen he could eat. Mill really advising him that he just stop just eating just ramen. And Naruto half the time not even fully listening to the dude because the other half of the time he gets bonked over the head for not listening. With the angel staff, no actual physical confrontation. Just staff confrontation. Angel staff. Because as an angel, Mill sees, himself above that of physical confrontation. Unless it's, with angel staff. He sees himself above such things, such barbaric means of getting attention from their lord. As you can probably tell, Mill was not exactly the most, chill of dudes. Mill isn't the most, chill of dudes. However, Dar is literally the orange M&M of the bunch because he is paranoid AF every time Naruto comes around. No matter how many times Naruto reminds the dude that he's not here to cause trouble, anytime he isn't around to cause trouble, or whatever, Dar would deem as, troubling. Dar just freaks out whenever he sees Naruto because, God destruction, probably here to destroy something or someone. It's almost like he completely forgot about the whole fact that they're linked. Because the fact that he's Supreme Kai to Naruto, G.O.D. to him. And, well, Mill also sees himself above reminding Dar about that. That's probably the reason he doesn't remember. Because Mill sees himself above, reminding the dude. So Naruto has to. And this actually kind of brings Mill sick and sadistic joy. Almost like he feels, he's above things, but, Dar, being just a mere Supreme Kai, is below things. Yeah, he literally has himself that up on a pedestal, considering the person who most of the time gets, the Grand, basically Grand Zeno to do whatever, is the Grand Priest, the father of all the angels. He sees himself in such a high regard that, he doesn't really care about what happens to Dar. And, this kind of pisses Naruto off. Several times that, Naruto's actually gotten into, the fox form just to reinforce to Mill that, hey, I have authority too, and I say, it's not cool what you're doing to Dar. And, these are, the only times where Mill is actually, in any, state of, shock. Is whenever Naruto actually, pulls his, what Dar believes, basically calls his authority mode. Because these are the moments whenever Mill actually kind of has to backtrack to, not just make sure, Naruto doesn't blow everything up with the temper he has. Whenever, dude, you are the reason why he has the temper most of the time. And he wonders why. So yeah, basically, you have an extremely, over proud of himself Angel and Mill, and you have an extremely paranoid and absolutely scared of damn near everything having to deal with Naruto, Kaioshin and Dar. And basically, whenever it, comes around time, the Grand Zenos are bored again. It's like, they like tournaments. And so, new G.O.D, even farther away in the Space Boonies universe, Universe 28, 128. And just to make sure, it's even numbers, we're gonna have Universe 11 there. Yay. Pride Troopers. They're funny. So yeah. Oh boy. And on the topic of things, well, seeing as everyone in Naruto's universe is dead, basically, we have to settle for everyone Izuku knows again being brought back to see the carnage. But this time Bakugo would especially want answers. And basically, Mill would go up to freaking. Just go up to Showa and be like, "So, your god of destruction is really this haphazard, isn't he?" And Showa would just be pissed off. Like, wait, what did you say about Izuku? Lord Izuku? And Mill will just be like, "Bitch, did it look like I freaking stuttered? And it sound like I freaking stuttered to you, you woman? Or have you been got on years? Like, why?" Oh, poor sucker. And freaking Showa would just be like, "You little sack of shit." And basically, Izuku, seeing that Showa's about to blow a gasket, you know, basically it's like, "Makina, do something." And basically Makina would be like, "Showa, please. We no need to, start fights before the fights even begin." And, just like smack. Just like knock him out of there. Like, and Showa would be like, "You damn insufferable sack of shit. I will destroy you." And basically Mill would just be like, "How primitive. Don't you know that new angels are only supposed to be tutoring the gods of destruction, not doing their jobs for them?" Basically, you know, Mill would just then begin to just feel this, like, warm presence behind him. And, whenever he turned around, he'd basically see Naruto in his authority mode. Which is basically just whenever he's using, the Nine Tails chakra. Fusing it with destruction energy is basically the authority mode. And Mill all of a sudden would not want to really pick all that many fights anymore. And, well, more or less, Naruto would just power out of the authority mode, or that's what Mill calls it. And, we'll just go over to, Izuku and be like, "Man, our angels are a freaking handful." Naruto and Izuku just, agreeing that their angels are just pains in the ass sometimes. More or less Naruto agreeing that Mill's a pain in the ass. And, well, that Showa, as long as you're not angry, usually, pretty chill. Kind of par for the course for her. Basically, Dar and Machina would basically, almost like I said, Darumaka of Pokemon. basically, Machina and Dar, meeting up and, actually, Machina actually helping Dar out, pretty well with the confidence boost, giving very encouraging words to help with his situation with his confidence problems. Because Dar and Machina are like polar opposites. You know, Machina is really eager and, rare and ready to go. And Dar is ready to crawl in a hole and die out of fear of anything to do with his own God of Destruction counterpart. So yeah, there's actually, helping Dar out a lot. So yeah. By the way, guys, get two surprises for you. Bringing back yet another oldie but a goodie. And also, Discord. Discord. Yeah, you guys probably couldn't understand a single thing of that. Basically, gonna try to do a different approach as to what if Naruto was split into three and now Ra, Anubis and Imhotep. Gonna try to do like a different approach to that. And for the other thing, what if Naruto was Discord from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Deuces!